welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon, and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all types of topics related to narcissism. So if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. I would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It's a free way you can help me out. And definitely don't forget to leave a comment because I like to read what you have to say. I'm going to begin today's video by saying thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel, everybody who has supported my channel. I am so grateful. In the last video, I mentioned I was very close to 5,000 subscribers. Well, it hit the milestone yesterday when I was at work, and I'm really excited. So thank you to everybody. Very soon, I'm going to be announcing some things, so definitely stay tuned. Last night, Joe and I went out for some celebration frozen coffees. A little fun fact about Joe and me is that we frequently go to Dunkin' Donuts and get large caramel frozen coffees, and then we drive around and talk. It's our just about nightly thing. In fact, we go so often that when we pull into the parking lot, the people that work there know us, and they already start making the coffees before we even get to the register. Now, I know I'm about to jump from something good to something bad, but in today's video, I'm going to talk about depression. Some of you may know the author E.B. White. He wrote Charlotte's Web and Stuart Little. Well, he wrote this about depression. Hope is the thing that has left us in a bad time. Things can look dark, then there's a break in the clouds and all is changed, sometimes rather suddenly. Nothing is permanent, nothing lasts forever, and things can change. There's hope in even the bleakest of situations. Remember that when you look at your own life, you don't always see reality. Pain can cloud it. When I'm going to talk about depression today, I'm going to talk about overwhelming depression because of narcissism. Many times what I discuss on my channel are things that I or Joe are currently experiencing, and this is the case with depression. I feel a lot better now, thank God, but for a little bit I was feeling some pretty intense depression. It was bad. And I'm such a baby when it comes to depression. It is absolutely intolerable to me. If I feel the tiniest pinprick of depression, I feel like I'm dying. I need immediate relief. I feel like I'm walking through deep, thick mud. I have to force myself to go to work, to smile, to pretend I'm anything but happy. There's a complete absence of joy or any peace, and it feels like it's more than I can handle the entire time I'm depressed. Yet at the exact same time, I'm aware how incredibly blessed I am to hardly ever feel this way. I work really hard to stay positive, and for the most part, I am that way. I'm very intentional in my life, but there are bad days too. Then there are people like Joe. Joe deals with powerful bouts of lengthy depression, so bad it's painful and agonizing for people that see him. I can feel his depression when I walk into a room. Now, Joe's pretty open about his depression and suffering from CPTSD. It's not all the time, but when he feels it, it is strong. When people often tell me, oh, you're so strong, you're so emotionally strong, because I generally have a positive attitude. But the reality is that, like I said, I feel like a pinprick of depression and I basically collapse under it. I'm not emotionally strong. I'm good at living intentionally. I'm good at seeing the positives. But when I feel bad, I suffer. And with Joe, he feels bad. He suffers. And then he still plods through his day. He still does everything he needs to do. He still smiles and encourages me when he is feeling horrible. He's still a dad. He still works. He still goes grocery shopping. He does whatever he has to do. That's emotional strength. I think sometimes we see somebody suffering and think, oh, they're not very strong. The reality is that getting through a depression, living through it. Joe said to me before, when I'll be depressed, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so depressed. I feel so bad. And I want him to take care of me and comfort me. And one time he said to me, oh, that's horrible. Well, I guess you're going to just have to be depressed today. I guess you'll be sad today. And I was, what? What are you talking about? That's intolerable. No, I need to feel better. That's how I feel. That's how a lot of us feel. But real emotional strength is recognizing a problem and seeing yourself through it. Now, it's difficult for me because I'm an empath and I'm extremely maternal. When I see Joe depressed, I want to take it away from him. I want to heal him. But the thing about depression is that we can't heal somebody else of it. Now, we can encourage somebody, we can be there for them, but healing comes from within. It's very personal. Now, I know that depression is common, both during and after abuse. It's just another unfair gift our abuser bequeaths us. In today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about depression and discuss some ways to handle it, some ways that have helped me. I do feel the need to say that everything I discuss is my personal opinion, and of course, you should not listen to anything I say over the opinion of a trained professional. I am not a mental health professional. Depression is a complete absence of joy, of anything good in your life. You lose hope. It causes pain. Not necessarily physical pain, although it can. It can cause headaches, stomach aches, and a lot worse. It can lead to drug use, alcohol abuse, other risky behavior, and of course, let's not forget, depression can be fatal. It's serious, and the longer it goes on, the worse the outcome is likely to be. It can lead to you being unable to function. And naturally, that can lead to more problems that can make the depression even worse. It's vicious. Depression is a complex issue with a myriad of causes, much too immense for the scope of this video. I'm going to discuss depression today exclusively related to narcissism and offer some ways to hopefully bring you relief, ways that have helped me. Narcissists abuse us to feel good about themselves. That really is a good way to summarize the situation. We are dealing with extremely cruel, vindictive, and outright con artist punks. Narcissists are pain machines. My personal belief also is that they're evil, profoundly immoral, and wicked. I would go as far as saying a true narcissist ultimately is demonic, truly. We're dealing with something so extremely cruel, so outside of human, that whether or not you would go as far as me and label them as as literal demons, enemies of God, as well as all things good, kind, loving, and decent, I can assume you understand why I think as I do. Slowly over time, narcissists deliberately chip away at our self-esteem, at our reality, at our heart, and at our soul. Some of us are physically and financially abused. All of us are emotionally annihilated. And that's where the depression sets in. Depression is a response to a wounded soul, a wounded spirit. It can be extremely difficult to endure. There are overwhelming feelings of sadness and hopelessness. You might feel guilt, especially if you have children with a narcissist, because we feel so bad. We just when we need them the most, push friends and family away. Sometimes we over or undereat. We might drink or do drugs, desperate to relieve the pain. We often make extremely poor decisions. It's like going grocery shopping when you're hungry. You're going to fill your cart with all types of junk. Depression makes you fill your brain with all types of junk. Right when you need to be deliberate with your actions, the pain of the depression destabilizes you, and the desperation to end the overwhelming agony moves front and center. Some people, like Joe, accept the pain and they suffer through it. Other people, like myself, run from the pain, and I'm drowning in despair. But what can we reasonably do? How can we handle it? The first thing we need to remember is that no matter how long we have suffered, the pain will not last forever, and we are not even close to alone. Depression is common. It's kind of like suffering from narcissistic abuse. For a long time, before I knew what narcissism was, I knew something was really wrong with my ex, and I believed I was alone in the world. Like I was the only person who was dealing with this. And in fact, that's really why I began this channel. When I found out what narcissism was, when I really understood it, it was like this light bulb moment, this epiphany. Oh my gosh, I need to tell other people. Other people need to know, because you feel so alone. No, none of us, I bet none of us got into these entanglements understanding narcissism. We thought we were with this good person. We thought we were with a decent person. And things started happening. We were confused. We didn't immediately say, oh my gosh, there's a narcissist. It's not until much later. We were never alone. There's so many people that understand it, but we didn't know it at the time. It's like that with depression too. It's common. So many people suffer from it. We're not alone in it. We're not always going to feel this despair. It will go away. Now, I want to tell you today that it is absolutely true that you will get better. Depression is not permanent. You will feel happiness again. But in order for that to occur as quickly as possible, you must force yourself into recovery. And that means doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. Masking the problem with unhealthy behavior isn't going to work. Yesterday, when I went to work, I literally had to force myself. I was thinking about calling in sick. Then when I was at work, I thought about leaving, telling my boss I was really sick and had to go. As customers came into the store, I mentally judged them. I compared my life with theirs. And of course, I know it's ridiculous, but I made up realities for people. I didn't know these people, but I suddenly pretended I knew their life. One woman came in and she looked well-to-do, and my first thoughts were jealousy. She looked about my age, and I looked at her hand and saw a big diamond and immediately pictured her happy marriage, her devoted husband. That's what we do. We imagine everybody has it better than us. Poor us. The truth is that we never know really how good or bad someone else's life is. And truthfully, whether or not that woman actually had a happy marriage wouldn't affect me anyways. Many of us are good at pretending we're fine no matter what. Usually I have a big smile and an exuberant and upbeat personality. So I told you me before work yesterday, right? I didn't want to go. I sat in my car as long as possible, dreading the day, wishing I could go home. When I couldn't wait a second longer, when I had to go to work, I was going to be late. I walked in and immediately acted in ways I didn't feel. Hi, Glenn. Hey, John. How's it going? Oh, I'm great. Thanks. Lies. But later in the day when I got home, my children were there. I walk in the door and they don't just stay doing what they were doing. They come downstairs. They talk to me. They both told me how happy they were that the YouTube channel hit 5,000. Despite how I felt, I have a reality full of blessings. When we're depressed, we only see the negative. We resent other people's positives, but we're blind to our own. Sometimes it takes somebody else to point them out. I mentioned earlier that Joe suffers periodically from crippling depression. His mind is firmly planted on regrets from the past and negatives in his present because of the past. He's blind to the blessings that I can clearly see. It's like that for all of us. I've mentioned before that gratitude is so necessary for our recoveries. None of us have 100% negative situations. I've mentioned this before, but somebody that I love very much passed away a little over a year ago. And I think of him often. I miss him every day. When he was sick and dying of cancer, he kept an inspiring positive attitude. He went to work most days. Now, he made enough money where he didn't have to work. He could have retired and just, did whatever he wanted in his illness. He could have said to himself, poor me. You know what? This is all about me. I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do whatever I want just to make myself happy. And it's not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but when you think about being a positive influence, when you think about the greatest things you could do, turning inward, focus 100% on yourself is not the way to go. He kept up an inspiring amount of activities. He did the same things. He did, and more, because he knew he had little time. But he didn't just focus on himself. And that's part of the problem with depression. When we're depressed, we focus exclusively on ourselves. Everything's about us. Everything's about how bad our life is, how bad we feel. I mean, I told you, I feel this little pinprick, and that's all I can think about. And I want somebody to help me. I practically go to Joe whining and complaining, help me, like I'm helpless. The reality is that I'm not helpless. You aren't helpless. My friend kept hope alive, but was realistic. He didn't feel bad for himself. He loved life and kept living. If a fatal cancer diagnosis didn't bring him to despair, we don't need to be in despair over something we have control over. Very often, I think about people I admire and I strive to be like them. I've mentioned before, I have Dietrich Bonhoeffer's name tattooed on my arm. The reason I have it there is so that I can look at it and be inspired. Remember the type of person I want to be. I want to help other people. I want to be a positive force in the world. I want to make a difference. I don't want to just focus on myself, and not care about anybody else, just do my own thing and be greedy. I want to be a good force in the world. I believe in God, and I believe that God has told me the type of woman that I'm supposed to be, the woman He made, and I'm striving to be that way every single day. I try to be better today than I was yesterday. Now, let's think for a minute about somebody right now laying in a hospital bed praying for more time. How dare we complain about our lives when there literally are people who would do anything to have our lives? The chances that we have. So many of us have suffered tremendously. Some of us are still suffering. We're still in the entanglement. We're trying to get out, and that is horrible. But remember, we are alive. If you are alive, you have another day to get it right. It took me 6 years to leave my narcissistic ex. 6 years. And at the very beginning of that 6 years, I had zero hope. As time went on, like I told you, I tried to be better today than I was yesterday. So every day, that's my goal. Doing that 6 years in a row enabled me to get out. And I'm no different than anybody else. I've told Joe 100 times at least, my ex will not take one more second from me, not one more. We, all of us, have a say in what happens, but we have to take action. Massive action fixes problems. Doing something about it fixes problems. Knowing you have a problem and ignoring it, hoping it will go away, is ridiculous. It's like just like hiding your head in the sand, or getting in bed, pulling the covers over your head and believing that somehow miraculously it's going to get better. That's the thing with depression. It's personal. We have to get through it. Nobody can do it for us. Joe can't help me. Oh, I guess he could help me, but Joe can't take my depression away, even though he really wants to. When I see Joe depressed, I am desperate to help him, to take it away. And I'm probably annoying to him because I'm constantly trying to get him motivated and feeling better. The truth is that it really does have to come within. It seems unfair, I know, but the reality is we want our life to be easier, and we want it to be easier as quickly as possible. Why is this happening to me? Those things don't help, but there are things that do help. A big thing with depression that really helps is get outside, especially now that spring is here. The warmer weather enhances your mood. Think about the difference in a day, right? If you wake up and it's cold, dreary, rainy, you feel kind of bad. Even if you were in a good mood originally, you're not going to be in as good of a mood when days like that. Now compare it to a beautiful sunny day. You wake up, you can hear the birds chirping. Life seems beautiful to you. It's all in perspective. It's the same thing. It's just what's outside of yourself. So if you look at what's outside yourself, look what's inside yourself and make it beautiful. Every day can be a good day. When you have bouts of depression like me, they're little pinpricks because you work hard to get past that. That really does help. So get outside. That's a huge thing you need to do. Get outside, exercise, take walks, jog if you do that, go to the gym. I love pansies. They're such a happy flower, and I've noticed they're at the stores lately. Go buy some. They aren't that expensive. Buy some and plant them in a pot and put them outside your house. It will cheer you up when you see them. Little things like this really help. For me and Joe too. I was so happy to find out that Joe really loves gardening, that he really loves plants. I love plants. It makes me so happy. So Joe and I have a bunch of orchids in the house. We have little plants. It makes us happy. So get into plants. Maybe plants aren't your thing, but think about it. Get into plants. Get into who knows what hobby you could be into. Get into crossword puzzles. Get into taking long walks, hiking. Something to get your mind off of what you're doing. I have my little breeding business. That keeps me really busy this time of year. It's breeding season right now. Little things, when you focus outward, when it's like, think about the sunny day, right? I'm seeing this beautiful sunny day. It makes me feel better. If I'm seeing my hobby, if I'm seeing something positive, take time to do something with your children. Do something special that they like. So many times, with our kids, you don't want to do what they like. Oh, I don't feel like doing that. But how many, can I play Candyland yet again? But things like that, taking the focus off yourself, it makes such a huge difference. When you get your body moving, your adrenaline gets moving, you feel better. Goal making is another thing to do. Make goals and begin to accomplish them. Think about what you want. Make plans in your life. Don't make the mistake of saying, well, when I feel better, then I'll do this. When my divorce is over, when I get away from my ex. No, do it now. You can live while you're feeling bad. That is important to do. We're talking about depression today, shortening bouts of depression. A way to shorten a bout of depression is to get your mind off of it. I mean, it's everything we're dealing with, the whole depression, even though it can affect other areas of your body, we're talking about like roughly the 6 inches between your ears. That's the problem. That's what we need to change. So get your mind off the depression. Even for a little bit of time, it will make you feel so much better. Be grateful. Count your blessings. You have them. We all do. When I've mentioned before that I keep actually a grateful journal. So every day I write 5 things I'm grateful for. So do this. Go buy a little journal, buy a notebook, buy something, a pretty journal, whatever you want. Start the day. Start today. All right. Don't start tomorrow. Don't put it off. Start today. List 5 things you're grateful for. 5 things. Any 5 things. And then every single day, write 5 additional things. Now you can write more than 5 if you want, but the rule has to be you can't put the same thing down. So you write your 5 things. I'm grateful for my children. I can write that today, but I can never write it again. You need to write 5 new things every single day, and you will be amazed at what you discover. I'm grateful for the green grass, the way the grass feels between my toes. I'm grateful for purple nail polish. Whatever it is, you will find all these things. And then you have this journal, you flip through it, and I have 2 years of it. All the things you're grateful for. It will be overwhelming. Instead of just laying there in your bed and thinking, life is horrible. I'm so depressed. It's never going to get better. Why is this happening to me? I can't wait till I'm dead. I mean, things like that, that is not going to help you at all. Get the ball rolling. Get out of your head, even for a little bit. Now, I want to say this as well. I know not everybody feels this way, but when I'm telling you this, I don't think this, I know it. God is real. He's here. He's with you. He knows what's happening. And sometimes it's easy to get frustrated at God. Well, why would God let this happen? How could this be? The reality is that God did not make this happen. We are responsible. And I'm not saying this in a bad way, but if you go in retrospect, I can go back in time. I see so many red flags. I've mentioned before, one thing I've discovered about God is that he is subtle. He's quiet. He whispers, but he's there. There were so many things my ex did that today, when I look at them, I'm horrified. Oh my gosh, how could I not have seen that? Why did I do this? Why did I let him say that to me? Why did I accept this? The signs are all there. Learn from what you've done. Just learn from the past, learn from what you ignored, I guess I should say, because it's not your fault that you're abused. I don't mean to say that I don't feel that way. What I mean is that going forward, we're not helpless. If we listen and we watch and we take action when we're warned, life will be so different. Joe and I have said this so many times because both of us were like, wow, I can't believe I ignored all these red flags. Imagine if I hadn't, how my life could have been. Your life moving forward, you don't always have to live this way. Your life moving forward can be so different. Joe and I are so excited to live the rest of our lives in a positive way. That can be how it is for everybody. Now, with that said, there's a couple things I want to say. If you're still with the narcissist, all of this still pertains to you, but in addition, you need to move forward. You need to start thinking of ways to get out of the entanglement. I would never advise anybody to stay in a relationship with a narcissist. I get it. I understand there are people that believe I will never get out. Yes, I want to leave, but I can't. I was like that. I was like that for a long time, but I got out. So because I got out, I know other people can't too. That's like the whole basis of my channel. The whole basis of my channel is that I tell you things that happened to me, things that I really did, things that made a difference, things that got me out. And I want that for everybody. I want to say as well, though, don't be afraid to see a doctor. The things that I'm telling you are things that really helped me. But some people, though, they have clinical depression, or they have depression in such a severe way that they can't get out of their own heads without help. So don't be ashamed to see a doctor. See a doctor if you need to. The main thing is you need to feel better. Once you get out of this depression, you can start making better decisions and your life will change. I want that for everybody. So I hope this video helped. I'm really grateful for everybody who subscribed to the channel. I have so much I want to give back to the world, to people, because I'm free and I feel so good about being free, and I want everybody to come with me. I want everybody to be free. I want everybody to keep hope. Hope is the key to your future. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I will see you on Friday, and I guess that's it. Bye, guys.